Okay, so this is going to be our series called Full Swing from Scratch.
Yep.
We want this to be kind of that video series that, yes, if you're a brand new beginner, this is going to be something you'll definitely want to tune in and watch and practice. But also, for those players who've been playing for a while, this is probably still stuff that's going to be really helpful and applicable to your swing.
Yeah, so we're going to go through each part of the swing. We're going to kind of touch on some more in-depth stuff, but we're going to keep some things very basic too that will really be useful for beginners or intermediate and more advanced players.
Yes, we've kind of divided the swing up into several little key spots. We're going to explain each of those positions, and it's going to be a really efficient way to learn and get better.
Yep.
Definitely make sure as you're going through this program, you've kind of mastered one thing before you skip on to the next step.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to be just like skipping straight to impact or straight to the finish or something like that, because you'll miss things along the way.
Yeah, so we're really just trying to start from the beginning. We're going to build on it, and we'll try to get to good impact and finish at the end. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, so in this scenario, I'm a new golfer. Colby's going to help me out.
Yep, so if you're coming in, you don't know much, very beginner, first thing we'll touch on is your posture, your grip, and your alignment. Okay, that's kind of where we need to start off. Okay, so we'll put alignment stick down, right, and we'll just ask you to set up to it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we'll have a good stance. Okay, we'll talk about a little about the weight position. Okay, kind of tell them how far the legs need to be apart, where your weight needs to be. I like to see it kind of over the balls of your feet. Get a lot of people kind of setting up, maybe weight in the heels, sitting back in it. Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit. A little bit of your alignment, your shoulders, your hips, your feet. Okay, make sure those are all pretty much lined up correctly. Okay, and then we'll touch on the grip. Okay, so can you show everyone your grip here, kind of how you grip the club?
All right, I'm gonna make this a little bit difficult for you, Colby.
Okay.
I'm gonna grip it how I see a lot of people grip it.
Okay.
It's gonna be something like this.
Yep.
So see a lot of that left hand kind of in the palm, and then right hand super underneath.
Yeah, most beginners get it in the palm, right? And that kind of causes a lot of problems. So what we like to do is we'll kind of open those hands up, kind of like this. Make sure that you want to turn and face the camera. Make sure that club's in the fingers here. We're going to take this heel pad right here and put it on top of the club. Okay, that way this hand will allow us to move the club up and down. Okay, get it too far on the side or on top, it causes a lot of problems in your takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other hand, kind of cover up. Put your thumb kind of on the inside here of this hand, kind of on the side, and then kind of that thumb on top. Yeah.
There we go. So I like to see people have their thumbs slightly off center.
Yep.
Just kind of helps support that grip when you're at the top of the swing. Also, another thing I like to see, we want to make sure we have consistent pressure throughout the grip.
Yeah.
Right? See a lot of people kind of lose it at the top. You'll see a lot of separation in this right hand. Definitely don't want that.
Yeah. So what are some good things to kind of make sure and check your grip?
Yeah. So I usually tell people you want to see about 2 knuckles when you look down at this left hand.
Yep.
Most people see 0.
Yeah, hand way on the side. Yep.
Yeah. So we don't want to see like all 5. We want to be able to see 2 knuckles when we look down, thumb slightly off-centered, this V that forms between this thumb and this index finger should point somewhere between like the buttons on your shirt and this right shoulder.
Yep.
It's going to be a pretty good neutral setup for you.
Yep.
You will feel a little bit of cupping in this wrist as well. So a lot of people, you don't really want to start out with this much shaft lean, and you don't really want to, I think it's hard for people to get this cupping, is what I've seen. So they'll want to, that's kind of part of the reason I think it goes this way, is this is a little bit uncomfortable for most people.
Yep.
But this is really important for a good grip.
Yeah. Good grip's important because that's controlling our club face. So.
Yeah. And then same thing with the right hand. Definitely don't want to see any gaps. I don't really mind if people use 10-finger interlocking or overlap, as long as kind of the hands are on there correctly.
Yeah.
So personally, I use 10-finger. It's kind of weird, but I do it because that's just what I've always done. If you're starting out, I'd probably recommend interlocking.
Yeah.
It's going to keep your hands together a little bit easier. Sometimes I think a lot of problems, if you don't have really solid fundamentals and really solid idea of the grip, I think 10 finger kind of leads to some of that separation sometimes.
Yeah.
So, same thing though, we want this V kind of pointed somewhere between right shoulder and middle of our chest.
Okay.
All right, Colby, so if someone came to you and set up to the ball, how I love people to come in and set up to the ball like this, what would you tell them?
So I would really like to see these hips, knees, and ankles kind of be more aligned. Okay, so yep, maybe a little bit straighter, and you want to bend from the waist. Yeah, a lot of people, they want to bend, lots of knee bend, kind of sit back almost. So my coach will always tell me, like, line up, make sure these are lined up, weight kind of a little bit more forward almost, and then almost like you're just barely pressing back, like if you had a bar stool or something behind you, so you're barely touching that bar stool.
Yeah.
Okay, that should get you in a good position, get your weight in a good spot.
Yeah, I like that. My coach always used to say too, like if you're leaning over a railing, trying to look down, something like that, kind of feeling that gets you more forward instead of kind of back on those heels, which we see so many people.
Yeah, definitely more bend at the waist. Okay.
What about something like this?
Okay, so you definitely don't want to be too hunched over, and you kind of want your arms more relaxed underneath your shoulder blades here. Okay?
Yeah.
Just kind of hanging down there. Okay.
There you go. Excellent. I love to see hands kind of right outside this shoulder line because it gives you room to work here.
Yeah.
Right? See, a lot of people set up like this.
Yeah, a lot of people.
That causes a lot of this on the way back.
Yeah.
Or it'll cause you to spin out and bring your weight underneath, right?
Yeah. Same thing kind of with your weight. Okay, people who set up with their weight way too far back, kind of the only way for you to go on the way through is kind of to go almost forward.
Right,
okay? Especially when you're adding a lot of speed, you kind of go that way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Balanced setup, very, very, very important.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the value of the setup.
Yeah, setup very important. Builds, that's what starts your whole swing. So bad mechanics at the start, probably gonna lead to a couple bad things as we go back.
Yeah, absolutely. What about ball position, Colby?
Okay, ball position, obviously club dependent. Okay, so I see a lot of people ball position all over the place, and just touching on a little bit of ball position can help a lot of golfers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you like to use an alignment stick, mark it down. Okay, so but if you want to turn this way, okay,
absolutely.
so ball position, but more with like the wedges and stuff. I like to see it middle, even slightly back, if anything.
Okay.
But, okay, see a lot of people get it way too far forward.
Something
And then I like to, and I like to think about a ball or so for like more of 7-iron, 8-irons,
so
mid
7-iron would
irons.
be, I like to say somewhere on the inside of this logo on your shirt with a 7-iron. And then as the club gets shorter, move it slightly back, right?
Yep.
We don't want to be off this back foot,
Right,
really
correct.
ever, unless we're hitting a punch shot or something like that.
Yeah.
Standard shot, though, somewhere from the middle to kind of driver would be inside that front foot.
Yeah. And a good way to line up is definitely use your upper body. Like you said, the logo on your shirt, stuff like that. That way your upper body gets in a good position too.
Yeah.
Because you can put the ball position in the right spot and then have your body all kind of different places.
Out of whack, yeah. That's a great point.
So using like maybe your lead ear or maybe your logo, and then obviously maybe it's inside your shoulder, something like that.
Right. And you want to be very stacked, right? I'm not like this or like this. I'm not way open with my hips and my shoulders, right? Everything, feet, knees, hips, shoulders, all lined up.
Yep.
And then as far as my shoulders, my hips, my knees, everything's kind of stacked on top of each other.
Correct. Yep.
All right. So that's kind of really good basics for setup. We'll move into the takeaway.